The corner, the corner, the corner. Hey, welcome. Come on into Cousin Ed's Corner. This podcast is where you will find real, authentic conversation, organic conversation, like you're at home with your cousin. It's about life, it's about finance, it's about spirituality, it's about love, and everything in between. I'm your host, Cousin Ed. I'm excited to bring you along on this journey to explore life. Listen, let's sit back and enjoy a wide range of topics. I have some diverse guests coming on, a wide range of spectrum of thoughts. My goal is to create a space for all of us to connect, all of us to learn each other, and all of us to communicate. It's really not about me. It's about the community as a whole. Let's enjoy this. Let's sit back. Let's think about our past. Let's move into our future. It's about the corner, the corner, the corner. So no matter how you cut it or slice it, we're all here together. I'm just here to give you a piece of my heart, my mind, my soul, and my mentals. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. The corner, the corner, the corner. What's going on, fam? What's going on? We are back again. Another episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. When my sister wins, we all win. And I am back with another queen this episode. And just honored to have a friend on the episode. So some of you may have been listening for a while, some may be brand new, but I found a lot of different phenomenal females doing a lot of things that are impactful, challenging, groundbreaking, and the internet has been a gift and a curse, and I found some of them on the internet. But this young lady I've known for years and been so proud of her and everything that she's accomplished over the years, and seen her grow throughout the ranks of corporate America, and just the person she is. I've been just admiring from the sideline, but also letting her know publicly and personally that I'm proud of her and everything she's done. But I wanted to bring her on this show, Cousin Ed's Corner. She's been on another one of my other shows previously, but I want to bring on Cousin Ed's Corner and introduce her to you, this audience, and just give her flowers. This is right now recorded in Women's History Month. We came out of Black History Month, and she was featured on a lot of different places for her expertise in technology and her accomplishments. But I wanted to make sure that I told her that not the outsiders. It's always good to be acknowledged by outsiders, but sometimes when you're acknowledging your own house, it feels good. So I wanted to acknowledge her here and let her just tell y'all who she is, and let her hear how proud I am of her. So Queen, my sister, my friend, the lovely Gibson is here, and I know she'll probably heard us 1,000 times. She is the lovely. So I'm happy to have you here. Welcome to Cousin Ed's Corner. You've been around me long enough. You know the brown is under the cabinet and the light is above the cabinet, and the red cups are right on the counter. So welcome back.
Thank you. Wow, that was such a great intro. I need to just record that. So like when I do my other, corporate stuff like that, I just have this like slow-mo intro, like that movie Slow-Mo when you like come in. That was the slow-mo intro. But no, thank you so much. I'm gonna try to keep the intro short. When I think about it, I'm always marveled at, and I have conversations with people who've known me like the 30 some years I've been in Atlanta, and be like, wow, remember when we were like at Freaknik, having a blast, and it was just like, where's the party, and now I'm traveling the world and visiting people that work in my organization, and trying to make sure that the revenue goals are met and technology is secure. But today I am a senior vice president at Equifax in technology, doing planning and execution, communications, change management. Work directly with our CTO, works directly with our CEO. I have an organization that is about 7,000 people globally.
Mm.
And I have a small, scrappy team right here in Atlanta, as well as people that I connect with around the globe that are also doing the same work that I do. And I've been blessed to be at companies like IHG, AIG, Turner Broadcasting, Delta, and before that, did 12 years for the Centers for Disease Control. And it wasn't a straight path. I tell people I zigzagged all over the place. I went to school for art and got a degree in art history. It took me 8 years to get that degree. I kept losing focus, kept getting, so focused about paying the rent and making the car note that I would start working, retail, security. I used to work a security job. I had a uniform on. I worked third shift. I remember having to change a flat tire in the middle of the night trying to get to my job. I used to work at Walmart. I used to take advantage of 30% employee discounts, and, I was just really just trying to figure it out like a lot of us do. But I did have something. My parents were always, keep your eyes on the prize. My dad was in the military. I traveled around the world, as an Army brat. And he would just always keep coming back, just keep your eyes on the prize. Whatever that prize is, just keep your eyes on that prize. So I always in the back of my head, even when it was about, just how do I keep a roof over my head? How do I stay fed? How do I keep the car from being repoed? What am I going to do? What is going to be the thing that I can do best? And when I get there, people are going to show up and be like, where's the lovely? Because she's the one to do this job. She's the one to do this task. She's the one to do this role. And it was a job I took, just, again, trying to pay the rent, working at IBM, putting together computers. It was a crazy shift. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning to 11. I remember working in this big warehouse, and they're like, look, you do this, you do this, you do this. And I had my little toolkit. I was putting together motherboards and programming computers that were going off to Israel, I think. And started hanging out with some computer geeks there, and it was a challenge because I was the only woman, number one. And then I was the only black woman, number two. But I didn't really have anything else really going on at that time. It was just I would go home, I would go to work. I would go home, I would go to work. So I started to study, started working on a C+, language. And, I just was at, what? I need to get the hell out of school. I need to get out of school. By that time, I was probably 6 years in. We're going to school counselor. I'm like, how do I get out? She's like, you finished the degree that you started. Don't change. Just finish what you started. So I remember taking 5 classes one semester, and it was brutal because by that time I had ended up taking a job as an administrative assistant. I was filling in for women at a temp company for people who were going maternity leave or out for med leave and trying to go to school at night. But I was determined to finish school, determined. And I remember taking 5 classes, working 9 to 5. I even pledged that semester. I almost killed myself, but I just knew that I needed to get off of the habit trail of just take a job, can't do classwork, lose that job, go back to school, take a job, can't do classwork because I got to pay my bills. I just got off that habit trail, and started getting serious about what I was doing. And, I finally ended up in the corporate space. I was doing travel tickets, on an old travel machine, I was learning how to type. And people around me started to see what? Even if the task is as mundane as here's 500 pieces of paper, we want you to alphabetize them. I nailed it. I did it well. I took it seriously. I got it done on time. Then it was like, okay, now we want you to answer the phones. Okay, I answered the phone. Before it even ring, the light would go off. I would pick it up. Professional Scientific Associates, this is Lovely. How can I help you? Then it was like, put this together, type this up. And I just really started to be very serious and focused about what I was doing. And people around me were like, oh, okay, let me pull you to do this. Let me pull you to do that. And when I started having conversations with people around me, oh, they had their degrees all right, but they also had master's degree. And I'm like, well, dang, I only have my undergrad. I'm going to have to go back to school. And to try to go back to school, got denied. They were like, no, you're not good enough for this program. It was like a technical writer, I got, rejected. I remember being crushed. And, I talked to my dad. He was like, you got this. You go back. What do I need to do? And next semester applied, got into school. And by this time, I'm so determined. I just want to get out of school. I finished my master's degree in 18 months. I just was ready to be done. So now I've got a little bit more time at the same company. I'm working at the Centers for Disease Control. And I will never forget, somebody told me about a hashtag. It was like 1999, 2000. It was like really, really early. No one was doing social media yet. It was just starting. And I just were just getting so excited about the ideas and the concepts. And I just started to focus and really just focus and, just really hone my skills and listening and organizing and learning. And before I knew it, someone was like, you know what, it's time for you to move into a role that you'll just be dumped into the digital space and technology. And I remember I wasn't making a lot. And a friend of mine was like, you need to go ahead and buy a house. I'm like, buy a house? What are you talking about? Like, I can't, you need to buy a house. You're almost 30 now. You need to get yourself together. And I remember finishing school, buying a house, going to private sector. And I remember working on an app at Turner Broadcasting all around the same time. And I realized it wasn't killing me. I really thought, like, it's going to take me out. It's just, I'm going to be buried. And it didn't kill me. And I started to realize I can do very hard things. And I can do a lot of them at the same time. And I tell people now, being in leadership, it's a lot less of like using some of the skills, the computer skills. And, I'm not coding, half the time I'm not even having to put my slides together or even write up the documents that I need to put out in comms in the world. There's teams of people doing that. But as a leader, you have those same skills you have to use over and over again about doing difficult things, and a lot of them at the same time. Whether it's listening to your boss lose his mind about something that's gone awry, your team members don't have what they need. It could be something as mundane as, the internet is not working. We're having VPN issues globally. It could be something as massive as, we have SVB Bank going under. Are they a customer? Are they investors of ours? How are we going to address this in the market? I got a call today from one of my regions, and it's like, oh, Canada, they're dealing with this, and how are we going to solve that? And then I get a call at 5, and Australia is dealing with this. And I've just learned over time that I can do a lot of hard things at the same time. And that's really what leadership is about, and being able to still address people and listen to people and help them while you're helping to manage and prioritize what's serious, what's something that can wait till tomorrow, what do you need to focus on right now. It's not going to kill you at all, actually. It actually makes you tougher. It helps you actually tune out some things that are just noise, and you're just there to give somebody a look of understanding and listening. But I just learned that grit and determination that I really got from my upbringing and my parents, especially them being in spaces as sometimes and often the only Black people doing it. I remember growing up in places and visiting places around the world, and my dad doing jobs where I would go to see his coworkers. I'm like, he's the only Black person. Go and do sightseeing, be the only Black people. I was just like, it's okay for me to be the first person in these spaces. It's totally fine. Everybody's going to be okay. And so I just continue to use that every day. And I also just really bring in other women to that mindset and that concept. Like, I know it's hard. It's okay for us to talk about it, but it's not going to knock you out. It really, there's days when I really thought it was just going to be like, this is it. I can't move. My body's exhausted. I'm so tired. I'm going to quit. But you keep coming back, and you realize that it's just adding another layer of armor, for the next battle that's going to crop up tomorrow, next week, the next hour, whatever it may be.
I'm going to drop the mic and shut the show down after this. As y'all can see, she is... you need your own... honestly, you killed everything I wanted to ask, Okay, so the show is not scripted, so y'all already know how Cousin Ed rolls. The show is not scripted. Everything I thought about speaking about, she just killed everything. So I'm just going to shut the show down. I'm only joking, but no, you're so polished in everything that you do. It shows in what you just did. You can write a book from what you just gave, and it's just telling of how resilience, how perseverance, keeping your eyes on the prize. I wrote it down as you were speaking. Keeping your eyes on the prize is what I'm gonna name this episode. Keeping your eyes on the prize is something that if you want to do something, you can do it. Don't let anyone tell you no. So like I said, honestly, is not much I can say after that. I want to know some things that in your travels now, seeing some things outside of America. Some things you may want to bring back and tell especially the young ladies that they can aspire to do and see and be, and some things that you've seen over the last, I'm looking last couple months and year or so that may have opened your eyes like, man, it's amazing that we don't even know this and we haven't experienced this.
I think when you're forced to live abroad, like, I didn't have a choice. My father, he had a job, he had to take his family. You go to school with people who are they live in their life, this is not tourist, this is not vacation, this is just real life. And you assimilate, you're like, oh, okay, they do things differently here. We eat differently, we speak differently, we dress differently, we socialize differently. Living in Pakistan where it's Muslim, living in Kinshasa, which was like coming out of the Matrix. I always tell people, like, when I went to a country where everyone looked like me and all the television commercials had people that looked like me, and the billboards and people drinking Coca-Cola and smiling looked like, it was like coming out of the Matrix. Like, oh my gosh, I have been in the Matrix believing that, I'm the minority, and I gotta like fight to be in these places and spaces, that it empowers you, living in Thailand and seeing that people they're just going about their normal day in their life, and either you can roll with the stream or you can sit and be still and miss everything. And that's why I don't take it for granted when I'm in spaces where people are different. Like, everybody's just trying to do their thing. They're just trying to live their life. And we have more in common than we have in differences. I travel a lot for business. And one of the things that hurts my heart the most is when I travel with people who don't want to try new things. So we get all the way to these places. It's been happening for like the whole 20-something years I've been working. We get all the way to this place and, I'm gonna just eat McDonald's while I'm here. What? I'm just gonna eat my Doritos. Like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. And I will try anything. And people are so ingratiated when you share culture, when you ask questions. I will just go on and on about, like, oh, what time does school get out? What's people's favorite show? Not questions about what's the average income. No, I'm like, what would I ask my friends when I'm going back home and I visit them in like St. Louis or Louisiana or New York? What's the favorite place to eat? It really getting to know people, and you start to realize you can talk about anything and you can connect with anyone. And that's the key, especially in a lot of business. I have to talk to a lot of people. A lot of people are cold. I don't even know them, you know. And you're trying to find that way to connect, you know, whether it's sports, whether it's food, whether it's, you know, family. You know, one of the things I learned is often Americans will go to the weather. In a lot of other cultures, they go to the family. How's your mom? How's your sister? You know, where a stranger asks you that, you'd be like, come again, what? You know, you know, it's like knowing those things to say, you know, I am okay when I'm in foreign spaces, if I'm networking, if I go to a ball game and I'm sitting next to a stranger, you know, if I am going to a dinner, if I'm going to an event, you know, I can make a connection with people because they're just people. They're just people trying to, you know, get through the day, get through whatever. And a lot of times when I tell people and we start having conversations about our careers and our upcoming, there's so many similarities. I mean, I have talked to some very powerful people, all kinds of walks of life, Black, white, Asian. And it just always, it just blows my mind how we were all scrimping and scratching in college, how we were all like trying to find change in the gas little pocket, trying to just get one more gallon. You know, all of us have those stories, you know. And so it's like, you know, don't be intimidated. Like, so that takes that intimidation off. Yes, I belong. I should be in this space. You know, we have so many walks of life that are similar. People who've never even lived in the US when they were coming up, you know, they've migrated here, they've immigrated here. Like we find those sparks that are so common. And then once you have that commonality, now the playing field is equal. You know, they could be more senior than you, they could be junior year, but now we can have a conversation, we can make inroads about, hey, I'm looking at this opportunity. What can you tell me? Hey, you know, I'm looking for this type of role. Hey, I need to hire this type of person. Hey, I want to learn more about this. Hey, can you break this down for me? And now we're just people having a conversation. We're in Cousin Ed's corner. You know, we're just having a conversation. So that's what I always tell people, like, there's so much commonality before we're different. And when you get into those places, take advantage of the difference. It's a gift. Value it. Learn from it. And also know that your cultural experience is also valuable. Don't negate that your experience and the Black experience is not monolithic. Whatever your experience is someone else's gift. Like, oh, wow, I learned about this. I learned about that. I learned about vernacular. I learned about culture. I learned about whatever. It's a gift. People want to learn about it. You know, if you show that interest, they're going to show that interest as well. So I think that's like the biggest thing for travel to me. I tell people, like, get out and see more, and then realize just how similar we really are at the core as humans.
I definitely totally agree. I know, coming from New York, there's some people that never left the 5 boroughs of New York. And when I came down to Georgia, some people never even left the city of Atlanta to go outside of there. So, and then, you know, some people never even left the country. So it's amazing being able to travel and get out of here and get to see other cultures and meet other people. And for me, anywhere I go, I'm trying to find the hood. I want to find out where everything is so I can know I've been there, you know. So I like to enjoy the true culture. I don't want to stay on the resort. I want to know the true culture of where I'm going. So I definitely agree with all that. But before I let you go, and hopefully I definitely will have you back again, as this episode is partially titled, because you titled the rest of it, When My Sister Wins, We All Win. Can you give any tips to, or speak to, I'm going to say tips, speak to our sisters out there who are you back in college that's trying to be where you are today? And I heard a message of someone talking to their younger self. I want to leave them with this message to your younger self of who you see in that mirror.
You know, have a North Star. It's okay that North Star is, I want to run the entire company, right? If you figure out that North Star, like, I want to be a producer, I want to be a writer, own my own magazine. When you figure out that North Star, then you can create a path, right? It's like if you know you need to get to New York, there's so many different ways to get there. You can drive, you can fly. Even when you fly, there's different routes, there's different stops, there's different airlines. But if you figure out that North Star, you can start to create a path of what you need to get there. Whether it's skills, whether it's people you need to know, whether it's education you need to have, whether it's books you need to read. But have that North Star and constantly remind yourself of where are you trying to go? What are you trying to get? And it took me a while to figure out what my North Star was. And I know when I meet people now, especially when I interview for roles, they're like, well, where do you see yourself retiring? I'm like, boom, bam, bip. They're like, oh, you have it all worked out. I'm like, I do. And it may not necessarily be a title. It may be, I want to have, created a $1 million idea, But once you have that North Star, you can start to at least start chipping away at the pieces that it takes to get there. And don't create a North Star that's just over the horizon. Make it something that's as far as Saturn, because over the horizon will be here so fast. I used to do these little I'm going to be the manager, and I'll be the manager. And I'm like, oh, well, what do I do? Really set it out there far. That way it gives you so much wiggle room to change lanes, to be like, well, you know what? I actually need to do some writing if I'm going to be a producer. So I'm over here doing a writing, that's okay. Well, I actually could be behind a camera, or actually could do some music to understand scoring. There's all kinds of bits and pieces that you need to have before you get to the North Star. But by having that North Star, think big. And I'm telling you, you can't think big. You can't think too big on this one. There's just so many things that you can do, because some days it feels like a grind and it feels like you didn't get or do anything. But that little bit of, I spent 2 hours reading this article about, production companies, that's something towards that particular goal. Or I watched this documentary and I got inspired about this. That's something towards that goal. That way you can win every day, because there will be days when you just don't feel like you're winning at all. You can win every day when you have something that big, because there's a million things that you can do to chip away at that big goal. So set it big. It's never too big. And then that way gives you room to maneuver within that. And if it changes, that's okay. But that's the way you have more wins trying to get to that big goal. And don't ever sell yourself too short. I mean, someone's always going to talk about you. You're going to have bad days, but that's okay. I mean, people talk about me every day, all day, twice on Sundays, but I'm still getting it. I stay focused on what that big goal is. So when I have tough days like today, I'm like, you know what? This was one day closer to that big goal.
I know that young girl in the mirror right now is drawing and looking for that North Star. So I definitely appreciate it. Like I stated, I didn't want to keep you long. I appreciate your time. I am truly honored by you once again. I'm so proud of you. When I see posts go out and I see what you're doing, you really don't know. I'm really so proud of you, just to know you and know, just know who you really are. So I'm proud of you. I want to once again thank you for coming on the show. I want to have you back. I actually want you to do your own segment, because this right here, what you just did today, was amazing. I really appreciate it.
I'd love that.
I'm gonna hold you to it. Listen, everyone, if you want to reach out to her, please drop a text message, 762-333-2032. That's 762-333-2032. I will deliver all messages and try to read them on one of the shows. Also, if you want to leave a voicemail, please go out to Cousin Ed's Corner. That's Cousin Ed's Corner, plural. Across the top of the page, hit leave voicemail. And if you leave a voicemail, I'll definitely forward it and play on the next episode when she comes on. So, D Lovely, you are lovely. I appreciate you. There's no more words. You already know how I feel. So everyone out there, I love each and every one of you also. There's nothing you can do about it. Have a great one. Peace.
Hey, y'all. Aisha here, founder and CEO of the Sistahs in Business Expo, the country's only multi-city small business expo and community created to celebrate and educate entrepreneurial women of color. Be sure to tune in to the next episode of Cousin Ed's Corner. And remember, when my sister wins, we all win.
This episode of Cousin Ed's Corner was brought to you by the Sistah Shop. Please be sure to visit them at thesistahshop.com. That's TheSistahShop.com. Thesistahshop.com. Thank you for listening to Cousin Ed's Corner.